Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or the press, or the right of people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Hey, good morning, y'all. It's Mamaw. It is Sunday morning coffee time.
Hey, good morning.
It's the day after No Kings, and Carmel's on board. Say howdy, Carmel.
Hello there. I had my mic muted.
As usual. So she'll be helping out. Good morning, Patsy in northern Idaho. How's your weather this morning? As you all log on, tell me where you did your No Kings or what you did do for No Kings. Linda is in Central Florida, and all the porch sitters, she says good morning. Steve and Chris in St. Mary's County, Maryland. That's beautiful over in there too. I'm glad you could join us this morning. Nancy, good morning. You went to two No Kings, New Albany and Columbus. Good for you. Connie Schumann in Bend, Oregon. Good morning, Margie. How are you this morning? Deborah Reisner. Hey, Brenda Aubrey. We had fun with Brenda yesterday. She was at our No Kings in Chillicothe. Good morning, Candy. Luann, good morning to you too. Oh boy, everybody's hopping on fast here. We have a lot to talk about with our No Kings. See, Barb Conley, I saw you this morning. I'm glad you made it out there. I was really proud of you. Mary Peterson. See, y'all don't know. I really do read your stuff. Tonaloo, how are you? I met Tonaloo and her twin sister yesterday. Now, here's kind of a little conundrum I got into, and you all tell me if it was tacky or not. I had an opportunity when I was speaking yesterday. I could have said on my mic for all the porch sitters to come over for a group photo, but it was No Kings, and I thought that would be, I don't know, rather facetious on my part, so I didn't. And I really hate that because I'd love to have a picture with all of you that showed up because I had quite a few porch sitters there. So the next one, let me know if you think I should do that or not, because several people said they missed out on the chance, and I feel really bad. And I just don't know what the right approach is. You know, we're old school the way we were brought up at our age. So, oh, and Brenda says she got to meet Tonaloo and her sister too. So that's great. Oh, Barbara, I'm glad you had a good time. Yes, see, I should have taken a picture with you and your sister. And we will do that the next time, I promise. Okay, we've got a good chunk on. Carmel, what do you think about getting started?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, now we're going to do things a little different. Carmel's going to be watching your comments, and she's going to flop them up just like she did there, which is going to help things run smoother. So we're going to give this a try, and you'll hear her disembodied voice. Those of you who went to Chillicothe yesterday got to meet several versions of Carmel, from the taco clown to the handmaid to Carmel herself. But we have a lot of fun. Okay, I want to do my thank yous first. I got to thank Papa for putting up with all this. Helping me with my research and taking me to events like the No Kings. And I've got something this afternoon to go to, and he doesn't complain. He just nods his head and goes along, just like Carmel's husband, Gary, does. Just nods their head and go along. I mean, what the hell? I want to thank Brenda with Artsy Aubreys for my merch creations. And I saw a lot of my merch on display yesterday, by the way. So she's got a lot of stuff in there. If you get a chance, check it out, and we will see what we can. If you have ideas for merch that you'd like to have or see, let Brenda know, and we'll see what we can do. She's quite the artist. Thanks to Jeremy Barker with Obscure Mics for keeping me connected and helping me with this software, and it just did a major upgrade. And we're going to do some more upgrades this spring, including Papa's going to do an upgrade on the porch. So I've got a nice solid wall on one side to do stuff, keep the weather out, and use the porch a little more. So thank you to Sassy, who's my manager and cohort in all this. She does the meta whispering, trying to keep me from being zucked all the time. And I did say that with a Z.
That
She
was
manages
you.
Substack and Blue Skies, although I am known to use the other. And to my BFF Carmel for her encouragement and jumping in anytime I need her in my life, and for being our co-host. And then intern
You're
Dylan,
welcome.
when he's here. So see what you wrangle your friends into. It's terrible. So let's get started in on the news. Uh, if you can, Carmel, change that to YouTube. If you can, and if you'll notice, people on YouTube are getting their notices quicker than the people on Facebook do, or they can go right to the live and kind of click on it. I don't have the problems with YouTube that I've been having with Mr. Zuckerberg. The other benefit is if you want to see any of my older stuff, it's right there and easy to find under shorts, lives, posts, and podcasts. There's all different categories. You can just click on it and it's all right there. So, oh, thank you, Tonaloo. I think he's cute too. Um, but if you want to kind of merge over or follow me on either one, it would be really good. So go to YouTube if you can. For those of you who are subscribers, and this is for subscribers only, tomorrow is our monthly Zoom call. It's at 4:00 Eastern. If you're a subscriber and you have not already sent me your email and you would like to get a notice and join the Zoom call, send me by private message your email by, let's say, 1:00 Eastern today, and I'll add you to our list and start adding you to our email list. So I just wanted to say that again. We kind of did that early on, and more people have subscribed. So I'm liking to welcome everybody on my porch. Yes, see, Kristen is telling you the same thing, and even Carmel had to merge over to YouTube. Thank you very much. So everything I get from the people that are watching me from YouTube is much more positive. That a lot of people on Facebook, and even yesterday, were saying they were having trouble finding me on Facebook, or asked me if I was still on Facebook, which I am. I don't know what's going on with the algorithm, but even my followers, because it was really snowballing, and now all of a sudden people can't find me. It's not in there for people to follow. So, like I said, I've been Zuckerberged and let people go over to YouTube if they can. Okie dokie. So, Carmel, let's go to number one. General Mattis was at an event in Texas. He's the former defense secretary under Taco in his first term. And he tells everybody that we're in a real tough spot. And man, he said we are going to be in a mess in Iran, that we are at the point of no return. There's no easy exit. The other thing is if you saw the news, our air bases got hit really hard. We lost an AWACS airplane. I don't know why they called it by the number. It's the AWACS. It's our big spy plane that has that big disc on the back. We lost 3 other jets in total. Papa says it came up to $26 billion worth of aircraft in this latest hit. None of the bases are now livable for our troops, so they are in hotels, they're in tents, and where they've been saying in U.S. news, they're sending over, they're very careful to say, an additional 1,500 82nd Airborne and 5,000 Marines. Well, guess what? In total, we have 10,000 troops in the Middle East. Sounds like a buildup to me. Sounds like we're going to be in another quagmire. And Taco has gotten his ass in a sling and he's let his alligator mouth overhaul his hummingbird ass. And we're going to be paying the price, both literally and in our young men and women. So, this is a hell of a thing to do just so you won't release to cover your ass the Epstein files. And that's all this is about. For some reason, he and bloodlusting Petey Pie Hegseths thought we were going to get into a walk in the park and we are just going to be in a bloodbath. So I will continue. Go to number 2, Carmel. The war continues to be a mess with no exit strategy. We have no reason that we went. We had people in Congress on both sides of the aisle went into a briefing, a highly classified briefing. All of them came out mad, even the Republicans, because nobody could tell them why we bombed Iran in the first place. Nothing credible at all in the first place. So we are spending $2 billion a day. And this has been going on for a month. Now you think about all the things that we could have paid for with that $2 billion. Doge was about saving money and all. We don't have our health care. We've cut back on food benefits. God knows we've cut back on our education plans. We've cut back on grants to educate our people. Anything that has to do with regular human beings, we've screwed over. But by golly, we're doing okay when it comes to, whatever Taco wants. It's just like paying the TSA. Unanimously, the Senate passed to pay the TSA, cybersecurity, and border. What they didn't pass was ICE. Goes to the House, and Mike Johnson started his shit again. It's back in the who knows what. And Taco says, well, I can just sign an executive order. Now, if you'll think back, originally old Taco said, oh, well, they haven't suffered enough, apparently, because he wanted the SAVE Act passed, which I'll talk about in a little bit, and then this. Now he can do it with the stroke of the pen. No, he can't. He doesn't control the funds. And if he does have money to pay him, where the hell did it come from? Nobody is accounting for all this money that Taco is moving around at the stroke of a pen. And Scott Bessent is breaking the law every time he lets Taco move money around. That is the job of Congress. I do digress. Taco is losing finally with non-college educated white males, his biggest demographic. The ones that could be draft fodder, because now it's raised up to 42 years of age. Joe Rogan's guys, per a March 26 Fox poll, said Dems have flipped 100% of all seats in special elections this year. And we all know Taco watches Fox. So all this smoke that Stevie Miller's been blowing up Taco's ass, now even Fox News is having to admit to this. Now even Joe Rogan's telling him, dude, this is not working. CPAC this week was poorly attended. There was hardly anybody there at CPAC. And when Schlapp got up there and said, how do you feel about impeachment? Now, what the gag line was supposed to be is they were all supposed to yell no, because the only thing that Republicans have to run on this year is if Democrats get office, they will start impeaching cabinet members and Taco. Well, when Schlapp got up there and asked it, everybody yelled, yes. And he said, no, wrong answer. Do you want an impeachment? And they yelled yes again. The half full room that was there. CPAC was an absolute disaster, and that's good for us. All right, photo number 3. She's got it up there. Remember when Taco, back when he was running to be reelected this time, asked oil CEOs to contribute $1 billion for his reelection? And he said, "You won't be sorry." Do y'all remember that? At the Mar-a-Lardo thing? And yes, I'm purposely saying Lardo. If you looked at Taco from the rear in his white golf pants, it's pitiful. Anyway, U.S. oil companies since the Iran war in the last 29 days have made, on top of the money they already made, at $50 a barrel, and now it's at $114 a barrel, has made an additional $63 billion. That's just U.S. oil, mind you, over their regular profit. Carmel, photo 4. The Taco administration cut subsidies to all electric, wind, and solar programs. Yep. So all that stuff that Biden did, the new jobs, training people, Taco cut all the funding for it. And photo 5, Taco paid a French company $1 billion to not advance their wind turbine program. So that's sorry SOB behind your backs. What you're not seeing on US News is wind and solar are so successful that he's paying them not to do it so that we don't get advantage of it and that we have to pay higher energy bills. So if you're running out of things when we get to our 5 calls, you might throw that in there. Why in the hell? And there again, where'd he get the money to pay another country $1 billion without it going through Congress? That's what Congress is supposed to do, people. Right here. I hope you all went and got your $3 Constitution off of Amazon or go to the cheap store. That's what I call the dollar store. They usually have them on sale. It is plain as day in the Constitution. The purse strings are the job of Congress. Taco's got a little bit of money, but not like this. He is slinging money around like he's can do whatever he wants, and nobody is stopping him. That's our money. He is going to spend us broke just like he did every damn business he has ever run. I'm sorry, I'm getting fired up again. There's an old saying here in Appalachia that you throw around money, dollars like dimes. He's throwing around billions like they're dimes. All righty. Michael Flynn. Do y'all remember Michael Flynn? He is the disgraced Army general, and this is what's puzzling. He got to be an Army general without ever commanding troops. That's a whole nother thing. But if you'll remember, there were a lot of photos published of him with Pootie Poo, and that was before Taco was elected. And then they found out through the Mueller investigation that indeed Michael Flynn had been talking to Pootie Poo on back channels about helping the Taco. Now, that's a fact. Michael Flynn then pled guilty and he was removed from his job because he was supposed to do essentially what Tulsi Gabbard was. And the FBI at the time said, "You can't, he's compromised. We have been following him because he's compromised to see who his contacts are." He pled guilty. Well, as soon as Taco got in office the first time, he pardoned him. Now, Michael Flynn's the one who really promoted this QAnon craziness and showed him taking the QAnon oath. Let me tell you, I had a Q clearance. Now, it does take a lot to get a Q clearance. But keep in mind where I worked, the janitors also had to have a Q clearance. I always laughed, and I hope Kim Ely's on here. I always laughed at people out at the plant. You know, the QAnon guru was the janitor who got to go through everybody's trash. I mean, it was ridiculous that a general was falling for this QAnon bullshit. But anyway, Taco ordered the Department of Justice to pay Michael Flynn $1.2 million for his pain and suffering, for him pleading guilty. And there again, who is Taco? I mean, there was no trial. He did not have a judge's order that he got to be paid. Nothing. Taco says you pay him. Now think back on the phone situation. Remember the 6 ass kissing senators that were going to get paid $1 million per phone that they had, and Lindsey Graham claimed that 6 of his phone records were taken. Do you remember all that? He is passing around this grift to his buddies because he knows his days are numbered. And he's going on with this grift, and everybody's got their hands in our treasury. And there again, old Scott Bessent is letting him. And we still don't know where the money from the sales of those oil tankers are over in Qatar. So we need to watch that. Okay, Carmel, you go to number 7. Lord, if you thought I was fired up about him spending money. PewDiePie Hegseth blocked the well-deserved promotions of several women and colonels who happen to be women or officers of color to the promotion of 1-star general in the Army and the Marine Corps and Air Force. That would be brigadier. But he stopped them solely because, quote, they weren't the image he wanted for the military. That piece of shit, unqualified drunk. Now, let me tell you something. You start getting up into what we call flag officers, which is colonel up to generals. The colonel's the one that wears a bird on their shoulder. These people are usually academy graduates or top in their classes of ROTC. They have a minimum of a master's degree or 2. Some of them even have PhDs. A lot of people don't know that General Mark Miller had a doctorate degree. They have been to the Command and War College, which is an extensive program. They are the cream of the crop. They have been airborne or ranger. I mean, they've done it all. They are the cream of the crop. When you go to get promotions at this level, they see all the paperwork, everything you've done. They don't know if you're black, white, or purple at that point. You make that cut. You have to have time and grade. You've got to have good top-notch reviews. I mean, it's a complicated process. Then they see you and know you. They were excluded solely for the fact that they were women or people of color because they didn't project the image. I'm telling you, so we want the image of PewDiePie Hegseth. He wants people to look at him and think this is what the military should look like, with your white supremacist tattoos and that crazy off-the-wall damn church that you're following. And I'd like to talk to at least 1 or 2 of your ex-wives. You're like Taco. You've got so many. It's just, we just number them. We don't even have their names. And if they're okay with the fact that your church leader wants to do away with women being able to vote and the man votes for the household. You've been credibly accused of abuse. You are a piece of low-life, drunken shit, and now you're doing this. You fired top-notch women and people of color right from the get-go, and now you're preventing them. We are losing the very people, the voices that should have been in the room to tell you what the pitfalls were into going into Iran. The whole idea of having a broad-based military is that these people, due to their experiences, look at the full 360 breadth of things and let you know where you're vulnerable. If you keep surrounding yourself and the taco with ass-kissing yes men, you will get bit in the ass, which we are getting bit because you refuse to hear opposing points of view. A good leader, PewDiePie, listens to all points of view, and then you take all of that information, you weigh it out, and you make the best informed decision. That is what a leader does. Good God, and you damn Mamaw has to tell you that. There I go. There goes my blood pressure. I'm sorry, Carmel. I should not ought have done that. But it makes me angry, in case you can't tell. But anyway, the thing that bothers me is we have these wonderful young men and women that are serving, and they are not getting full benefit now of top caliber officers who have spoken truth to power. This is where we're vulnerable. This is what the enemy's capable of. This is how we would exit. This is what our goals are. You've gotten rid of all that. If they aren't kissing your ass and agreeing with you that you are the mastermind, they're out of there. God help us. Okay, maybe I'll get back in a better mood now. All right, Carmel, let's go to number 8 because I have a lot to tell you about the SAVE Act. Speaking of people like Petey Pie.
I don't have a
Every
number 8. It goes to 9 on here.
Oh, does it? Does it say
Yeah.
SAVE Act?
No.
Oops. Or do I have to put it on there?
No, you must have to.
Let me see.
579.
Oh, yep. There you go.
Okay.
There's number 8. So, and I have a 9. Oh, I think it's because I wanted to save a spot for you.
Okay.
There we go. And let me put 9 up. There we go. So, on the SAVE Act, a lot of people were asking about the SAVE Act yesterday, and we're going to talk about No Kings a lot. But on the SAVE Act, it's really a voter suppression act. Well, what got me fired up is our current appointed, not elected Senator John Husted used to be for 8 years the Secretary of State of the state of Ohio. He was the Secretary of State prior to LaRose. And by the way, Frank LaRose has been activated. He's on his way to the Middle East. That is our current Secretary of State. And he was interviewed on CNN by that Brianna, I don't know her last name, the blonde. She's sharp as tack. So she asked him, she said, you used to be Secretary of State of the state of Ohio for 8 years. Yes, I did. Did you have any problems with your elections? No, they were good. So she said, no voter fraud, good, free and fair elections. Yes. And she said, and people could use just a utility bill as proof of address and ID and stuff. I mean, you could just see him turning red. Well, we followed the law. And she said, okay, but the changes in the law for this SAVE Act that you are now supporting are based upon voter fraud. So did you have rampant voter fraud in Ohio? And he stumbled and stammered, no, but we followed the law. She said, I understand that, but you told me that during your tenure, which is the 8 years you were in office, there was no voter fraud, that you ran free and fair elections, that you didn't have any cases, and you had 0 cases of non-citizens voting in Ohio. He didn't know what to say. He was, well, it was the law. And she said, so why should the law be changed to make it harder on people? So that got me thinking, let's look into what's in the SAVE Act, because all the Republicans are doing is coming out and saying, oh, it's just about voter ID. No, it isn't. And I want you to understand so you can tell people, no, it isn't. What the SAVE Act is really about is voter suppression of primarily women who have been married and took a different name, poor people, and transgendered people. Because who do you think is more likely to vote Democratic? Because we got a blue wave coming. Exactly. Because more women are managing households now. Women have to work and manage children now. And now you're going to put yet another yoke on them. Poor people have trouble getting out and getting these different IDs, paying the money. I mean, when it's pay my kid or pay $50 to get a certified copy of my birth certificate. And that's the other thing. Oh, well, it's only if you register. Well, if I move or I move for a job or for whatever, divorce or whatever, now I have to register somewhere else to vote. And now I have to cough that stuff up. And you can't show them a copy of your birth certificate. It has to be a certified copy of your birth certificate. And most of us are at an age, by the time you get to vote, you have to go to your state capital to get that certified copy. And it takes several weeks and it's going to cost you 30 to 50 bucks. Just letting you know. So I'm going to tell you everything about the SAVE Act. So please be patient. Uh, Carmel, I'm going to read this, so it'll be a minute. So be patient with me. In the past 25 years, there have been documented instances of non-citizens voting, but these cases have been extremely rare. For example, a recent audit in Georgia, and God knows the taco has edited the hell out of Georgia, and I need to tell you about that in a minute. They only identified 20 non-citizens who registered to vote. That's in the last 25 years. 9 of them actually cast a ballot, and it was caught at the Board of Elections, and it did not count. Similarly, in Iowa, there were 87 instances were found where individuals cast ballots and later self-reported they were not citizens. Iowa is where you have a lot of farm workers and a lot of workers that work in the slaughterhouses. They didn't understand. They went in to vote. Overall, the evidence suggests that non-citizen voting is a very small fraction of registered voters and ballots cast in elections. We didn't have a problem, people. The states that had this are states that had migrants in that didn't understand. The SAVE Act requires Americans to provide documentary proof of U.S. citizenship when registering to vote in federal elections and to present a government-issued photo ID when voting. Okay. Most states have already had you have to show photo ID. I mean, and your address on your photo ID has to match your voting address. Okay, we get that. If there was a change and you hadn't had time, you could show a utility bill. Can't do that anymore. Here's the problem. So a lot of people jump through hoops to get that damn real ID. Remember? So you could fly on airplanes and yada, yada, yada. Well, they don't want that to be effective anymore. So if you need to change and register, or if you're a new person, 18 years old and stuff, you have to cough up all this bullshit. That's what they're doing. Proof of citizenship at registration. The SAVE Act mandates that everyone registered to vote in a federal election must present proof of U.S. citizenship. Acceptable documents include a U.S. passport. Have you got a spare $173 for your spare passport? A real ID compliant identification indicating citizenship. Well, right now, your real ID does not indicate citizenship. A certified birth certificate. A U.S. military ID with service record showing U.S. birthplace. So being in the military, people don't understand. We have non-citizens that are in our U.S. military. And the reason used to be they would join the military so they could become a U.S. citizen. That was a fast track. Well, Taco, if you'll remember, his first term, we had an E7 who had done 4 tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, served with honor, and when he got back stateside and was going to get out of the military, they deported him back to Mexico instead of letting him go on for his citizenship. I do digress. You have to have showing the birthplace, a naturalization certificate, or a thing from a U.S. consulate showing that you were born abroad to U.S. citizens. Just to vote, people. Just to vote. You have to have photo ID at a poll. You already do. That's what blows my mind. You already do. State verification and purges. Pay attention, people. States must establish programs to verify citizenship by using a federal database such as Department of Homeland Security. Carmel, I hope you're sitting down. And the Social Security Administration's verification services. States are also required to remove non citizens from voter rolls. They already can't vote and are removed. And to maintain ongoing verification processes. Point: non citizens have never been allowed to register to vote nor vote. We are fixing a problem that isn't there. Enforcement and penalties. Now, Carmel will tell you, as will anyone who works a county board of elections, you have great citizens. They're your neighbors, conscientious workers working at boards of elections. But now, and it's hard to get people to come in and do these jobs, election officials who register applicants without proper documentation face criminal penalties, including the potential imprisonment. Hell, he wouldn't even imprison Mike Flynn. And the act allows private citizens to sue officials who have failed to enforce the requirements. So there's going to be people coming in intentionally trying to vote and cause a problem because now they can sue to make them a few extra bucks. Their word against your word, unless you happen to have a camera over. Well, they didn't ask me for my proof of birth citizenship. You know the game. You know the game. Who it affects. This act would disproportionately affect individuals who lack ready access to citizenship documents, including young voters, low-income individuals, people of color, older adults, and women who have changed their names through marriage. Estimates suggest over 21 million eligible voters may not have easy access to the required documents. The SAVE Act would override current state voter registration systems for federal elections, standardizing proof of citizen requirements nationwide. This document right here, all elections are to be run at the state level, even the federal elections. We have 50 states that run their own elections, and that's how they then get together. That's why we have an electoral college. It all gets together when we're electing a president, senators, and congressmen. This act would absolutely violate the Constitution, but by the time you get it to court, people for this election, and that's what he's panicking about. It's this election. He wants this before the November election. That's all it's about. Now let's talk about mail-in ballots. Carmel, go ahead and throw up number 9. Taco believes he is a king, and as all kings, do as I say, not as I do. So he and his entire family have repeatedly been at Mar-a-Lardo every weekend. They have early voting in Florida. The polls have been open. You all the time see presidents go in and cast their ballots at polling locations, except for Taco, because he's got to be on the golf course. He's special. And once again, he mailed in his ballot. But he doesn't want you to be able to mail in your ballot. Now, they did a cutout for military people. And then they said, what about people in nursing homes? What's only if you're wheelchair confined? He doesn't want mail-in ballots unless you're a business person on a trip. If you're on vacation, you don't get to have a mail-in ballot. I mean, this is ridiculous. So mail-in and online registration processes would become cumbersome due to in-person document requirements. So you can't even upload these documents because they have to feel that they're certified. That's what the SAVE Act is. It's a voter suppression bill. And the minute you have a Republican elected officials or one of those dumbass sycophants telling you, well, it's just about voter ID. You tell them, we already have voter ID. This is a non-part, this is just not a problem that they're making a problem. And now you can tell them exactly what the hell is in that SAVE Act. And if you move, God forbid you move or you change voting precincts, you've got to re-register. And this is what you're going to go through if Taco has his way. That's what the SAVE Act's about, people.
Luann wants
So,
to know if JD's going to change his name.
oh, he's got
Have
3
a,
name
yeah,
changes he's got to prove because
yep.
his birth certificate, he was James Bowman. Then he changed about 8 years of age to James Hamill. And then, all upon his own, after he finished the military and college graduations, the whole 9 yards, he went by JD Vance. So, yeah, he needs to prove all his shit too. So, um, that's going to be interesting. And that's why we're saying no. But I want you all, because knowledge is power, and we're taking back our power. I want you to know and understand exactly what that SAVE Act is, exactly why it's so important to turn it down, exactly why the Democrats are dug in, God bless them. And that's why we've got to flip that Senate, because Congress has already passed it. They passed it by 3 votes. The Senate is trying to hold fast to that 60 vote margin, which is why Taco wants him to do away with the filibuster. And you've got that dumbass John Fetterman wanting to vote for it. But this is what it would do. And it's not just a matter, they keep saying, well, just for people that are registering to vote. If you move, you have to re-register to vote. That's what people aren't getting through their brains. And then you've got to come up with certified copies, which means you've got to take a day off work or get transportation and go into the Board of Elections. You can't even register online under this act because they have to feel that embossed certification that the documents you're showing them are certified copies. That's bullshit, people. That's bullshit. Okay, we're done with all that. I want to talk about No King's Day. The rough numbers are in. Last night it was 8 million. I heard this morning we had 10 million, 3,000 locations, and that doesn't count foreign countries that were protesting for us. Bless their hearts. This was one of the largest protests in U.S. history. And Taco had to see it because did you see all around Mar-a-Lardo? They had all kinds of protesters to where he even had to bring in his Proud Boys to protect him because they really outnumbered and they were peaceful. So Doge has also cut the department that does, yeah. So there you go. We're going to have fun getting our passports. Um, but anyway, we had a lot of fun in Chillicothe. Um, we had a really good turnout. Let me, and I'll show you some pictures here. Let me add a couple. So, for those of you who didn't already look on my Facebook page, we had, let's see, we'll get it up here. Here is Miss Carmel. Carmel, why isn't that showing? There we go. Let me remove that one. Now we'll add this one. There you go. Here is Miss Carmel as a handmaiden. Carmel hasn't been a handmaiden for a long time. Then we have, remove that one. We have another one here. Let me get this up. Yeah. Where'd that one go? This is Taco the Clown and Papa. Taco the Clown was also caramel. She jumped into a nearby phone booth. Caramel, you got awful quiet on me. Unmute. There you go.
The dogs were barking.
Oh, I see. Then I have another one here. Here is our signs. These are mine. Whoops, Caramel, how'd I do that? She'll get it up there. There's our signs we took. Papa still hasn't gotten over Taco having bone spurs all those many years ago. And then I just think Taco eats tacos on the throne. It's just not the throne that y'all think. So that's No Kings. So I want you all to tell me about your No Kings. Carmel, where are you going to put the day I took off to get my real ID? I stopped by the Board of Elections to check my paperwork. The woman acted surprised, as she called it, my very old birth certificate. I know. Now they want them big blue things that are got the certification on it, and I don't know what we're going to do. Here, Carmel, get me some more questions on here. So where did y'all go, and did y'all have fun? Oh, thank you, Wendy. Yeah. Oh, good. Cincinnati had a good turnout. No Kings in rural Newport, Washington State. Waves, thumbs up. That's what I do want to say. We've always had counter protesters. This time we had no counter protesters, and we always had the whole the Trump truck parade. This time we had one truck. He had an American flag and a taco flag, and then he threw up a hat in his dash that read ICE, which he is not an ICE agent. He went by down the street, turned around, came back, drove real slow, videoing all of us, which was funny. That was the only counter protester. Then I had one gentleman flipping the bird, and there was a young girl there. You've seen the picture. She made her sign, and God bless her dad. He brought her because she wanted to do this. And so I told him roll down his window. And I asked him, I said, do you really want to flip these people off and admit to the world that you are supporting a pedophile? Well, I never heard he was a pedophile. I said, the Epstein files, he's all through it. There's a girl that credibly the FBI had 4 times in interviews with her. I said, he's a convicted rapist in a civil court. He's assaulted all kinds of women, and you want to flip us off and say that this is what you support. He rolled up his window and drove off. Never came back by. So we had no counter. Yes, Heidi, I saw that. I believe every bit of 1,300. I saw that. Athens, I'm an old bobcat. Heidi Bowman went there, and they literally lined down State Street on both sides of the street. It was amazing. And of course, you have the university there. Now, some people said my pictures, and it was hard to tell. The thing I'm loving about these is you've got all of us who were alive in the 60s and 70s, but we also had a lot of really energetic, involved young people. And then, of course, where you had any college campuses, you had a lot. People are very awake. They're aware. Now, a lot of people that I call still working, raising kids age, but young and old, and people are bonding. They're getting to know each other. You're meeting people you would never otherwise meet. These are peaceful. They get loud because I tell people use your outside voices. But this is what we have to do, and we have to show up, and it does several things. First of all, it shows the corporate media guys they're backing the wrong horse if they want viewership. It's also showing when Fox Noise has got to go online to get through to Taco because his people are surrounding him and trying to keep the news from him, or when he has to drive out of Mar-a-Lardo and sees these protesters, they can't hide that from him anymore. And these poll numbers aren't hiding it. So it does that. But it's good for our mental health. You remember back when Taco had these people on street corners and doing their parades, and you just felt like, oh my God, what country am I in? And you just kind of sunk into the background. Now we know. Now we know. People think more like us. We just got pushed into the background. It is great for your mental health to go to these. And if you can't stand up, take a chair. If you've got a scooter, take your scooter. It's all right. We are accommodating. If you can't get out, if you are housebound for whatever reason, assisted living or something, still make your sign, put it in your lap, and go around where you live. Let them know how you feel, because you might just find out a bunch of others have been quiet and they feel like you, or you can just have a discussion. We don't have debates and discussions anymore, and we need to. It's okay to not agree with someone. Hear their point of view. You express your point of view. You might find some common ground. But what has happened is Taco has forced people, I'm right, you're wrong, and there's no debate and no center ground. And that's just not America. That's kind of like, where Petey Pie Higgs has taken our military, and that's not a good thing. Yes, young people are getting in law. Beth says they had several hundred in Avon Lake. There was a Mustang that driving back. Yeah, we had one of them in Athens the last time when I went up to Athens, and Heidi will remember this. Revved up his engine and tried to leave a big long streak, and it died. And then we had a truck go by and blow a bunch of smoke, but oh dear, I'm sure they're not doing that now with the price of fuel, are they? Yeah. Oh, there's Carol. Yes, I loved seeing the young people, Carol, and so many young people, and it was good to see you too. So, Barbara, whoops. I saw you had your chair. I'm glad you were there and you're glad you came. Good deal. Good deal. Now, Brenda, this was her first experience, and I'll bet you'll be coming back to more. They are just a great bonding experience. Plus, you always got to see how Carmel will come dressed up. Uh, let's see this one. Belinda says we had a guy with a big truck and boat and Trump painted all over it and a loud horn came through Virginia Beach and honked. Yeah, I think he might have issues with his manhood. I think that's what's going on with Petey Pie. He's drunk so much that his manhood don't work anymore, so he's got to be all hateful. Oh, I loved seeing you too, Carol. Shauna said, got a couple of thumbs down, and happily said, yes, gas prices need to come down. You got that. They flip you the bird, ask them if that's their IQ or the number of times they've been to Epstein Island. The same gentleman that was flipping the bird by the time he got to me, one woman, few heads down, asked him if that's the number of times he'd been to Epstein Island. But he had his window up; he couldn't hear because it was kind of chilly. But he rolled it down for me. Oh, I know. I don't know how they afford the fuel to have those diesels go by blowing smoke on everybody. Papa, Heidi Bowman said there was a head count of 1,300 in Athens.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that made
Great, great,
that made
great.
Papa happy. That
Great,
made
great, great.
Papa happy. All righty then. Oh, what a great day. I'm glad everybody went. Let's see here. You attended a No Kings rally in Sandpoint, Idaho. Was with your dear friends and had a great time. Loved the signs, the music, great time. Yeah, my best college buddy and army mate, Betsy Graham, and Tad were at, I'm assuming, Boise, Idaho. And then Kathy Judson let me know up in northern Idaho they had some rallies. So they're all over. They're all over. People have had enough. And how I started things, are you, and this is even the most ardent, to say, are you better off financially now than you were 18 months to 2 years ago? And the answer is no. Remember, he said on day one, gas prices will come down. On day one, prices will come down on everything. On day one, he will improve the employment situation. Well, unemployment was at 1.8% of people who wanted to be employed under Biden, and they bitched and moaned about that. Under Taco, there has been zero job growth in 6 freaking months. And they're continuing to lay off. There's no place for someone to go to get a job. We're getting ready to graduate young people out of high school, trade school, and colleges, and there's nowhere for them to go. And Taco also, just because Joe Biden did it, did completely away with all of the work and infrastructure money. So, and he doesn't want to build more houses because, then the housing prices will come down. Once again, got to take care of the rich folk and screw the rest of us. Well, I've had enough, and I know all of you have too. Barbara said, it was her first time going, had a really good time, had a lady next to me that said it was her first time. We both want to go back to the next one, and we will be having it. I really was feeling down because I have a lot of MAGA in my family, but after going to that, I don't feel alone anymore. Exactly. And anybody will tell you, Sassy will tell you, Carmel will tell you, that is exactly why I started this porch community. Across the country, I wanted people, especially people in our age demographic, to understand, because loneliness is an issue, especially after COVID. You are not alone. You have friends you may never physically get to meet, but you have friends on this porch. We are a part of each other's lives. I noticed, like, I haven't seen Linda from Looneyville, West Virginia on here yet. But I notice when the regulars aren't here, hey, Judy, I try to at least let you know that I've read everything that we've done. I am telling you over and over, this porch community is to let you know you are not alone. It is a safe space to vent. It is a safe space to share ideas. And I want you to know the MAGA is not the majority. They were just loud. And that's why we're going to start being loud. And we were polite. We didn't push back. Now you know you can push back, and we're going to push back. Carmel, do you have anything to add? You got to unmute yourself. There you go.
No, I think you've pretty well got it covered.
And how was your No Kings Day? Of course, Carmel goes to all the protests.
Oh, it was great. We had a good time. Hubby's first, so he enjoyed it too. Got to meet a lot of people.
He
So,
did.
yeah.
I'd never see. Some people say, well, protesting shouldn't be a good time. Yeah, it is. It's supposed to be a good time. You are supposed to relish life and the fact that you're getting that message out there. It's a community event because we've all been isolated. We don't need that. We need to channel our anger into these elections. And like I tell everybody, this is a marathon. We have got to flip the Congress and Senate to put up guardrails for November. No matter how you've always voted. I mean, think about it. If things aren't going your way, the absolute definition of insanity is to keep voting the same way over and over and think you'll get different results. Vote them out. Vote new blood in there. That's step number one. After the November election, we take a deep breath because we know it's going to go our way. And then 2028's in our sights. And in 2028, we have to resoundingly show up again because they're going to put up JD Vance or little Marco. But we've got to show MAGA we're done with the hate. We're done with the racism. We're done with the sexism. America is a patchwork quilt. Our representatives and our military should look like us. And I will end it on that. One sign said Trump is learning quickly that Iran puts up a bigger fight than a 13-year-old. Oh, Luann, you are so right. And I think Petey Pie, he just, they playing around in the Caribbean against unarmed people and going into Venezuela, and they think that they're going to take Cuba. You're not going to, there is a reason nobody has taken on Iran, because not only are they fighting sons of guns, we're now finding out with their missiles, they are far more advanced than Petey Pie gave them credit for. And where Israel's big dog is us being dumbasses, Iran's big dog is Russia. So they're fighting proxy wars that way. And I think they're getting a lot of help from China too. This is something we don't want to get into. Okay. Stay salty. I know y'all will. Make those daily calls. You've heard senator and congressman after senator and congressman telling you it works. We've actually crashed the switchboards a couple of times. Had a young man yesterday walk up and say, "Have you heard about this 5 calls app?" He had it on his. I said, "Yes, I have." He said, "Well, I heard it from an old woman on," and then he looked at me a minute and he said, "Was that you?" I said, "Yes, honey, I'm the one who's been telling
That's
everybody to use
cute.
that 5 calls app." But it was really cute. He was going around. He had a big QR code telling people to use their 5 calls app. Let's crash those switchboards. Remember, let's keep boycotting CBS News and watching Stephen Colbert. So stay salty. Use your outside voices. And all of you are telling me it sure felt good yesterday to do it. There will be other No Kings this summer. We will show up. You may have to take an umbrella, keep the sun off of you, but it was a great day. It's a great citizenship. It's a great way to commune outside and be with friends and neighbors you didn't know you had. Use your 5 calls app. Follow me, and if you can, kind of merge over to YouTube if you're having trouble with Zuckerberg. So I will answer you the best I can later on today. I've got to get ready for an event. Love y'all. Bye bye. Bye bye, Carmel. Thanks for helping.
Okay. See you later.
Bye bye.